Good morning, my loves. It's Tim. Tim is in the woods, deep in the woods this morning. This is a set that you won't have seen me kind of wandering around before. We've got some lovely weather in the south of England at the moment, but I'm out early enough to need my wind top. It's quite chilly and there's a little bit of mist over the fields, which is gorgeous. It's a strikingly beautiful start to the day, and it's nice to be out. And this is Saturday instead of Friday because I had a visit to the dreaded dentist chair yesterday morning. I thought you'd appreciate me being able to speak properly with clarity rather than the numbed version. And some of us are feeling quite numb by default at the moment, aren't we? We've had so many high frequency energies, and we just had the day out of time, the Galactic New Year, which was a really strange feeling day. I think when we are presented with certain energies that are so different and high frequency, it's almost like our brains check out a little bit, our nervous systems go, I've seen this already, I'm going to step back a little bit. So the Galactic New Year was powerful, but I'm also aware that myself, as well as millions of other light workers at the moment, are going through various stages of detoxification, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and we've reached a very, very pivotal, very important point on the Ascension pathway. And of course, with the absolute typical leonine fanfare, we have launched into Lionsgate. Now, every year, usually, I'll do a video explaining about Lionsgate, what it means, what it is. But I think I've done that enough times now, and I think for those of you listening, you'll have your preconceptions of what Lionsgate is, what it means. We are in alignment with the galactic core, and vast waves of energy for divine implementation of thundering into our reality. And if you're listening to this and you're feeling kind of disconnected, discombobulated, a little bit like the way it presents itself to me is I will feel a little bit like I'm underwater. It's the perception that you would have if you opened your eyes when you're swimming in a pool. Not in the sea, because that can be quite murky at times unless you're in the Bahamas, and most of us aren't. So if you open your eyes in a swimming pool and you look without your goggles on, that swimmy, blurry effect. And I've seen it happen on numerous occasions before, and the year that this is reminding me of at the moment, with the intensity of the shifts, is 2019. I can remember driving up to Diana Cooper's when she lived in Horsham, 2 hours away from me, and I felt so out of kilter, almost to the point where I didn't feel I'd be able to present online. So I spoke to Merlin, and he said, the changes have never been bigger. The storm layer was being built around the planet. Again, it's exactly this time of year. And you need to recalibrate your third eye. to be able to perceive and receive at the highest frequency. So that's our current task, is to readjust to these new energies, to be able to begin to read the field comfortably without feeling like our heads are under the water in the fashion in which I've just described. And something else I want to kind of talk, well, two little subjects. This year is calling for authenticity in a way that we've never really addressed it before. And so do feel a little bit like the word authenticity has become a bit of a spiritual buzzword. You know, it happens, one subject becomes popular, it becomes a focus, and everybody starts using it, but not really applying the actual technicalities of what it entails. So what is authenticity? Authenticity is being exactly who you are at that moment in time. Whether you are rolling around in the shadows, in the mud, like my lovely friend Karen always likes to talk about, because that is such a powerful part of the process, and she's so good at working with those energies. Or whether you are flying high, whether you are feeling absolutely goddamn rotten about yourself, whether you're buzzing, whether you're beaming love to the planet. It's about being who you are now, with no filter, no shields, no hooks, cords and attachments, truly striving towards becoming the definition of the fifth dimensional human. And so say, for example, you are having a day where you are releasing your, maybe feeling you need to lash out at others. Of course, we are always in need of being aware and responsible about where we are placing our energy, who we are directing it at. And it would take a powerful group of self-realized and healed souls around us to be able to hold space. So we're learning to do that again at the moment. We're learning to be trigger free, without our expectations, without our cords, without our attachments, to be able to recognize when another is in a process, when they're releasing, when they are letting go, and being able to embrace and hold without taking offense, without taking it personally. And that can be tricky for many of us, as we've had years and years in the third dimension. But also, I strongly feel and believe that authenticity is about doing what you are here to do. And that is to step up, to teach, to lead, to ground, to earth, to heal, to laugh, to cry, to love, to be human. And sometimes that's the most difficult part of the job, isn't it? To be human, to acknowledge our humanness in the face of something so uncontrollably momentous as moving through the ascension process. And you know, instead of having one distraction every 3 months, there are literally 4 carnival efforts a day from the 3D matrix to bring our energy down, to bring us into a state of distraction, to say, hey, stop focusing on yourself, be scared, because this is coming and it's dreadful. And all of the little talking heads on social media that then kind of regurgitate that narrative, attempting to seed and spread the fear. But I feel very strongly now that we've reached a state of self-realised stability, that if that sort of thing does rattle our cages, it does not do so for very long, and the energy soon leaves and we return to centre. We're not having to fight, to claw all the time to retain that light. All we need to do is set ourselves into a beautiful place, a state, you know, go out in the woods if you can, out in nature, drink some cacao, do some breathing exercise, yoga your way through it, and just focus on what you need to be doing energetically. I know I've been beating this particular drum for years now, but it is the one. It is the one. As there is no magic fueling the ceremonies of the Matrix anymore. They need it on a surface level. So being authentic would just be saying, you know, to people that are calling your attention to it, look, this is important. The authentic version of you will just simply go, do you know what? I just don't care. I'm not interested. It's not me. It's not my timeline. It doesn't affect my reality. Step onto mine. Join me. You know, free yourself of fear. Free yourself of worry. And that segues quite conveniently into the second part of what I want to talk about today. Some of you might have heard me mention going dark. Ooh. Going dark is where 1 minute you are full tilt, spiritually connected. You know, you're all lit up, your chakras are buzzing, the information's rolling and flowing through. You are truly in a state of receptivity, of wonderment. Everything's going just as you want it to, and then bang, it stops. And I know you've heard me speak about this before, and I too experience such things, hence the reason why I made up and gave it a name. And I'm currently in that phase. I'm going through a phase of it myself at the moment. I'll always be incredibly upfront about what I experience, because what I experience is what everybody else experiences as well. So I'm currently in a phase of going dark where everything has shut down while I go through a healing process. So the energy that I would normally receive from the higher realms, it's there, but I'm being asked not to analyse it like I would normally do. I'm not receiving any deliberate instructions or directives or guidance from the higher realms. I'm being utterly left to my own devices to wander with intention in the direction with which I am most strongly guided. It's a huge, huge life path segue when you get things like this occurring. And one of the triggers for it is that I've released something that I was very, very attached to since I was a small, you know, not just a small child, but a baby. On a incarnation, when I came through in this lifetime in 1972, my mother gave birth to me in Poole, and within 6 months I'd had my first asthma attack, and my mum had exactly the same thing, like an entire kind of lifetime of managing asthma, allergies, using whatever steroids were available at the time to kind of cope with it. Obviously this is kind of like relatively back in the dark ages, but it wasn't long into my early childhood that kind of things like Ventolin and all of the other steroid assistants were came through. And 8 days ago, I stopped using them completely, having been using them for over 50 years of my life. And boy, it triggered a process. It really did. I'm clearing my lungs, I'm clearing my energy, I'm clearing all of the attachments, and the physical side of it is remarkable. It really is. It was always one of the things that I knew had to go, but the time had to be right. And of course, when you do something like this, and I'm not just talking about my personal journey, when you take action like this, something will shift in you that's so profound that you will have to step out the field temporarily in order to allow this process to take place. Again, this is also about being the authentic you, cutting yourself the time if you need it, admitting to others, to friends, to healers, to seek assistance if you feel you need it, and to be open and honest about where you are, who you are, the things that weigh you down, the things that light you up and set you free to fly. And so going dark, it's always something that's rattled my cage considerably, because I, like many of you out there, rely upon my flow, that feeling of, do you know what, when I need it I can dip into the field and I can place my hands upon that and whatever comes through will be shiny. This morning I can feel vestiges of it beginning to return. So I don't think at any stage when we perceive that we have gone dark, as I've spoken about previously, that we actually have, we are just being called to honour the body's processes. And sometimes that requires us to just step back from whatever we're doing and take the most healing, gentle and most balanced route available. So authenticity, 2024 is the year of authenticity. The masks are falling away. The sixth veil of amnesia has been removed completely now from the third eye. I'm not just talking about semi-removal, I'm talking it's gone. It's history, which means that even if you don't want to see, it's tough. You are going to see with unwavering clarity everything that's being presented to you. And this causes, as I've spoken about before, considerable discomfort in those that have managed to mask up, to hide, to bury their heads in the sand, to say, I'm quite happy where I am, thank you very much. The decisions that have been made in the higher realms and by Mother Earth, by Gaia, by the angels, by the teams of light they're not pulling punches anymore. If we are here in physical on this planet, in this rising frequency, then it is step up time. And it leaves little room for not doing so. So there you go, my loves. Got the sun behind me now, so I don't know whether you can actually see me or not. All I can see is sunshine on the screen of my camera. So I'm going to wrap up and leave you to your beautiful Saturday, whether it is morning, afternoon or evening when you listen to this, or maybe in a few days' time. And for those of you in the south of England or anywhere else in England, I'm going to be going to Emsworth on the 4th of August for a full day in-person workshop. I'll have crystals there, I'll have the wonderful cards that have been created by myself and Miriam and Vivian Florian. We're going to be diving into the energies of the Lion's Gate, and then of course on the 8th I'm doing the deed with David Essery, opening the Lion's Gate, anchoring some incredible light that David has seen come through from the Agarthan sun, and really work with whatever that we have got on the table for this particularly amazing period of time, Lion's Gate. So from my heart to yours, sending you all so much love, and I'll see you soon. Bye.